Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Thursday, March 4th. This is your daily Buckeye Fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 182 days. The game against Michigan in 268 days. Ohio State will kick off spring practices 1 week from tomorrow. That is 15 days away. But before then, they're still doing winter workouts. And the program itself doesn't put out a whole lot of information on those. You just kind of see the occasional photos on social media of guys looking exhausted and miserable during mat drills, and that's basically it. So if you want to know what's really going on inside the Woody Hayes right now, you have to know an insider. Lucky for you, BuckeyeScoop.com is loaded with them. It is your lucky day. I am joined today by Alex Gleitman. He just dropped a huge update on the site about what he's hearing from inside the Woody Hayes facility right now. Alex, everyone always wants to know about the quarterback, so I guess we'll start there. There is this idea that this is absolutely CJ Stroud's job and everyone else is competing to be his backup. But it sounds like there's another guy in that race who is kind of new to campus, but really impressing people so far.
Yeah, listen, I'll say, do I think CJ Stroud entering, let's call it winter workouts, is the odds-on favorite to win the job? I do. I would have him listed as the favorite if this was something you could wager on in Las Vegas. Somewhere it might be. But that's how I'd have it. But Nevada Buck reported that Jack Miller is looking good and is not going to go down without a fight. But the information that I have is that Kyle McCord, since coming in, has absolutely just turned heads. The pure arm talent, I'm told, is by far the best out of the three. I got to see him live a number of times throughout his high school career, and I can certainly attest to that being extremely impressive. I think the other thing that's impressing people so much is the maturity and leadership he's shown. I think coming in, he's not your average freshman. He's come in prepared to compete for this job in all facets of what you'd look for in a starting quarterback at Ohio State. I think going to a school like St. Joe's Prep in Philly certainly prepares him for that. The level of competition they play and the way that they're coached up and things along those lines. I mean, his dad played for Rutgers, so anytime you're the son of a former player, I think it makes you a little bit headier and higher football IQ. And so he's absorbing things really quickly. He's a really mature kid. He's adjusting to college life really well. And I think, from a leadership standpoint, he's got the trust of all his classmates. And I think with what he's doing and how he's going about his business, he's impressing the other guys in the Ohio State locker room. And so, from a pure football standpoint, from the intangibles and the off the field stuff, he's checking all the boxes up to this point, being on campus. What is it, 2 months at this point or so. But I think what my sources are telling me is let's see what happens when the pads go on. But I think Ryan Day is going to play the best guy, the guy who's going to give him the best chance to win football games. He can't screw around here and just worry about people leaving. If Kyle McCord's the best guy, you go out and you get someone in the portal to be his backup, and then you have Quinn Ewers coming in next year and things like that. So you figure out what you need to do, but you got to put the best product on the field. And if Kyle McCord or Jack Miller are the best guy, then CJ Stroud's not going to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State. But there's a lot of football left to be played before that decision's made. I don't think it's going to happen till the fall. So spring ball, summer workouts, early fall camp, and then, maybe midway through fall camp, there will be a starting quarterback, whether it's publicly named or not before that Minnesota game, who knows? But I think Kyle McCord is definitely one to watch here.
Yeah, Ryan Day has talked about the fact that that's going to be a really challenging decision to make because these guys, basically none of them have thrown a pass in college. And you saw a little bit of CJ Stroud in some kind of late moments in games, and he played one snap against Clemson when Justin Fields got speared in the ribs. And Jack Miller played a little bit in a couple games, but that's it. So you're really kind of going from scratch. And there is no replacement for game reps is something that Ryan Day has told us. And so they're going to do as much game-like stuff as they can this spring, simulate those games as best as they can this spring, and kind of figure out where those guys stand from there. You also had some really great information on the running backs, a lot of the running backs, both of the freshmen plus some of the returning guys as well. We're not going to share it all here. You can become a member of BuckeyeScoop.com to get the full story. But one player I did want to talk to you about is Mayan Williams. In the span of last season, he went from a guy that a lot of Ohio State fans viewed as kind of like nothing more than a warm body that they grabbed when, that the guys they really wanted went elsewhere. And then it took exactly 10 carries. He had 10 carries last fall, and now he's a fan favorite. So what are you hearing about Mayan and where he might fall in the running back depth chart this fall?
Yeah, I think, one thing I do want to touch on real quick before we jump into mine is with the quarterback thing. The other interesting thing is in a normal year, Stroud and Jack Miller both would have gotten more game reps, as you mentioned. And neither of them have thrown a pass in college football. And so I think that this competition is more unique and might be a little tighter than maybe if those guys had more game reps and things like that. So that's going to be interesting. And I think it's the same with the running backs. When you talk about, the new guys coming in, they don't measure up to what, a Steel Chambers or a Master Teague, even a Marcus Crowley, and now a Mayan Williams have as far as game reps. And so everyone's, starting to say, well, Trevion, we know what we have in the guys that we have, but Trevion Henderson or Evan Pryor, maybe one of those guys should be the starter this year. Why not? Bijan Robinson did it at Texas last year. J.K. Dobbins was great as a freshman at Ohio State too, but Mayan Williams, the guys they have, I think, are good, and they have experience, they have game reps, and guys like Ezekiel Elliott weren't even able to come in right away. Beanie Wells wasn't able to come in and start right away. And so I think you have to look at what you have, and that leads me to Mayan Williams. And I think everyone started to see what Mayan Williams could be in that Clemson game. It was unfortunate that he had to miss the Alabama national championship game due to COVID protocols. He wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game, but, Master Teague, They did end up going to Marcus Crowley quite a bit in that game for, once Trey Sermon went down and Master Teague needed a rest. And so I think it would have been great to see what Mayan Williams had to offer, but I think you saw a little bit of that in the Clemson game. The guy since he came in as a freshman, I've just been told he just goes hard, and you could see that through his play. I mean, he does not quit until that whistle blows and he is down on the ground. That he was plowing through guys on Clemson. I thought the biggest thing was that cutback that he showed in that game. And that was something I didn't know that was in his skill set. And so I think, the momentum he had at the end of the season, from what I'm hearing, is translating early on in winter workouts. And I have one source, and doesn't mean they're going to be right, but I have one source who believes that while they think Master Teague might take the first, snap in the Minnesota game just out of seniority, he's going to be a captain, he's viewed as a leader on the team, and there is going to be a role for him on the football team, that they think Mayan Williams is ultimately going to be the lead back when it comes to like the number of carries and the amount of snaps that they're taking this season.
Yeah, he was someone who we got to see virtually nothing of the team before the season started last year. We got to watch one spring practice. We got to watch them walk into the facility the first day they came back in. And then I got about, half an hour or so of one of the practices before the fall, and that was it, because it was real lockdown last year. But in that time, just watching Mayan Williams walk into the Woody Hayes facility, he was doing it in like a tank top shirt, and it was like, who is that dude? Like, he is solid. He is built like a rock. And he looks like someone who it would not be a lot of fun to have him hit you. So, I guess that would make him a good running back. That's probably a good sign for his future career at Ohio State. We have heard a lot of buzz this spring about Marvin Harrison Jr. Nevada Buck has had a bunch of stuff on him, and why he's impressing people some early. But you actually got some very exciting reports about another one of the freshman wide receivers, Emeka Egbuka. He's was a late addition to the class, very, very talented, top 10 player in the country, 5-star wide receiver. So I guess it's not shocking that he's impressing people early, but why is Emeka Egbuka impressing people inside the Woody Hayes right now?
Yeah, I think I think just Marvin Harrison, he's just like a pro in the way he goes about his business, and that's no surprise, given who his father is, a Hall of Famer, and a guy who maybe wasn't the most athletic or the most talented, but just grinded and hard work and did things the right way on the field, and was able to be pretty productive. It helps certainly to have Peyton Manning as your quarterback. But, I think, so it's no surprise to me that Marvin, has been impressive thus far in the way he's gone about his business and how he's coming and approaching workouts. But Emeka Egbuka is just, and don't get me wrong, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Ballard, great talents, but Emeka Egbuka is an elite talent, and he's ready to play right now. And just from everything they're seeing from a pure talent standpoint, it's everything they expected. But just like Marvin, he's just coming there, and he's modest. He's ready to work. He's hungry to get better. He's getting pushed by the other guys in that room, and he knows it's not going to be easy to earn time. in that receiver rotation. And so he's doing everything he needs to be doing, everything they're asking him and more when it comes to the weight room and on the, I guess we'll call it the practice field at this point, but in the training and workouts that they're doing on the field at this point. And so, you know, he was like the number 9 player in the 24/7 Sports composite ranking, something like that. I think that's what he's living up to right now. And we'll see what happens when the pads go on. But Emeka Egbuka is a 5-star talent and a 5-star person too. And he's doing everything right so far.
All right. And the last guy we're going to ask you about is someone who has not even enrolled yet. He is already being talked about as a potential contributor in a position of pretty significant need this fall. Jordan Hancock. What are you hearing on Jordan Hancock, who has not even enrolled at Ohio State yet?
Yeah, the buzz I'm here, and again, no surprise given how highly he's ranked and he was coveted. You know, he originally committed to Clemson and pretty much he could have went anywhere in the country that he wanted to. But with Ohio State definitely needing help in the secondary, I think everyone knows that there's going to have to be a freshman that steps up and at least is in that 2 deep, maybe in the rotation a little bit, potentially could step in and play with injury, or if someone's not performing up to par, because they're definitely going to have shorter leashes this year than they did last year, I think. But the guy that I'm hearing out of all the freshmen, despite a few of them being enrolled early, that's going to play early is Jordan Hancock. I think that they expect him to come ready to go when he gets to campus in either the back half of May or early June. And they expect him to be able, despite not going through spring ball and all that, to be able to step onto the field and contribute right away. I think physically he's ready. I think from a talent standpoint, he's ready. And so it will just be the mental part of the game. You know, how quickly does the game slow down for him, that college game? Because no matter how good you are, there's definitely a speed difference as far as how fast the game is played from high school to college. And that's not going to be no different for Jordan. So it's how quickly does he, you know, he's obviously, now that he's signed, they get that playbook and they get their workout plans from Coach Mick, and he's diving into that. So it's how quickly can he translate what he's, you know, learned from studying the playbook and studying film maybe at home to doing it on the field and then in practice and then potentially doing that in a game. So I'm really curious to see how that works out, but big things expected from Jordan Hancock this fall.
Yeah, he is going to be one to watch for sure, because they would probably not mind another good talented cornerback in that room as they head into fall camp. That is going to be one of the very interesting stories we're watching in the next couple months. There's also a lot of stuff going on in recruiting, and you on your Around the Oval podcast just had the Ohio State commitment on your podcast. Let people know where they can find that and how that conversation went.
Yeah, you know, you could either go to our YouTube channel or check it out on the site. But I had Keon Gray's latest Ohio State commit. He just committed Sunday on the last day of his, I guess it was a 4-day visit to Columbus. Even though he couldn't meet with the staff, he just wanted to check out the school before he made things public to Ohio State. But, you know, Keon's a great kid. He's really, his father, who I've got to know a little bit during this process, is an awesome guy. He played at Arizona State, and you know, you see that, you know, he's instilled the work ethic and that IQ that's needed to be an elite player and an elite person at the high school level and then potentially on the college level. It's instilled in him, and he's just really mature. He's really charismatic. I thought it was awesome. Like, I tried to take a different angle and just like learn about more about him as a person and what he's going to bring to the program as a player and kind of the guys he emulates. And then we talked a little bit about, you know, who he's helping to recruit, and he was actually helping to recruit a few guys before he was publicly committed. He knew he was going to go to Ohio State for quite some time, but yeah, it was just a great kid. I recommend checking out the interview. Really get to know. It's great when we see these guys with their helmets on the field and see all the big time plays they're making and the highlight reels that they're creating. But to get to know these guys with their helmets off and who they are as people, you really see why the type of kids that Ohio State is going after and that they feel is going to help them build that winning culture in the locker room. And Keon fits right in that with that really well.
Well, that is a pretty good cross section of why you should become a member of BuckeyesScoop.com. Lots of interesting stuff, interesting interviews, interesting insights, and all sorts of insider analysis and all the stuff you can't find anywhere else. It is all at BuckeyesScoop.com. Alex, thank you for joining me. You can find Alex's ADAC column. That's the one with all the information from inside the Woody Hayes. That's on our Ask the Insiders board. Buckeye Scoop members can find that there. You can also, as Alex said, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. We put up all of our podcasts there, lots of interviews with players, coaches. When we have press conferences, those are up there. We have all sorts of stuff. We have camp footage. We have, you want to see J.J. McCarthy, Michigan's quarterback, throw every single throw against Kyle McCord at the Elite 11 camp last year. We've got that on that YouTube channel. We got a ton of great stuff. YouTube.com/Buckeye Scoop. If you hit that subscribe button, you will receive a notification every time we publish a new video, because odds are you're probably going to be interested in watching it. Something else that's up there, Kirk Barton just interviewed Ted Ginn Jr. That is, I have not even finished the interview. I'm halfway through it, and it's like, holy smokes, this is some of the best, like, fantastic stories you haven't heard. Well worth your time. That is the Scoop World Order podcast that Kirk does. You can find that on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. Do yourself a favor and find that one. That is a fantastic listen. And like I said, I'm not even done yet, and I'm giving that enthusiastic 2 thumbs up. So you can do that. You can subscribe to the site at buckeyescoop.com. You can listen to all of our great podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify. Just search Buckeye Scoop. You will find all of them there. You can subscribe right there. Also, leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps other folks find those shows. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.